You must first have the knowledge of your power. Second, the courage to dare. Third, the faith to do so. If you concentrate upon the thoughts given, if you give them your entire attention, you will find a world of meaning in each sentence. And you'll attract to yourself other thoughts in harmony with those. And you'll soon grasp the full significance of the vital knowledge upon which you are concentrating. As you know, knowledge does not apply itself. We as individuals must make this application. Now, unless you concentrate upon the object which you have in view, you will have but a hazy, indifferent, vague, indistant, and blurred outline of your ideal, and the results will be according to your mental picture. Welcome, folks, to Chapter 12, Part 12 of the Master Key System by Charles Haanel. We are going to concentrate today on one very powerful understanding, and that is understanding and acknowledging your internal power. Understanding and acknowledging your internal power. There's no purpose in life that cannot be best accomplished through a scientific understanding of the creative power of thought. Now, this power to think is common to all. Man is because he thinks. Man's power to think is infinite. Consequently, his creative power is unlimited. Again, man is because he thinks. We've all heard the term or the phrase, I am because I think, or man is because he thinks. Man's power to think is infinite. Consequently, his creative power is unlimited. So in other words, Haanel is saying here, you have no limitations on what you can think, with one exception of what you think you can think. Now, in terms of your internal power, what is the value there? If you are aware that you have internal power, then the next step would be to utilize it to whatever means you desire. If you are unaware of the fact that you have this internal power, you would not consider utilizing it because you're unaware of it. So you would be lacking an opportunity to achieve your desired end because you are unaware of your ability to do so. So there are 3 steps in this process. Number 1 is you must first have the knowledge of your power. You must first know that you have it. So imagine if you have just purchased a very expensive German automobile and you are riding in the lap of luxury. And actually, to be honest with you, most people do this. No one ever, I don't think, reads the owner's manual. So there's so many things that these automobiles can do these days that very few people take advantage of. But I'm going to give you a very simple example. So imagine you are anxious to go to your friend's home to, show them your new car, and you show up and you're, profusely sweating. And the person asks you, well, why are you sweating? Well, what do you mean? Well, why don't you turn on the air conditioner? And you may say to them, what air conditioner? Perhaps they would look at you and say, you do understand that this car has the ability to cool you while you drive in the lap of luxury. Perhaps an extreme example, but if you do not know that you have the power within, you will continue to look without for solutions that are much closer to you, much more available. So first, you must have the knowledge of your power in order to utilize it. Second, the courage to dare. Courage to dare. The courage to dare is an important attribute because so many people are adverse to risk that they will not dare to take a chance. You've always heard that the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Lesser the risk, the lesser the reward. Many people are very adverse to risk, and so they will not take the chance to do certain things. So the second thing Haanel is saying here, the courage to dare. So whatever your desired achievement or outcome is, you must have the courage to go after it. And then lastly, the faith to do so. All right, so there are 3 steps involved. Each one is absolutely essential. You must first have the knowledge of your power, second, the courage to dare, and third, the faith to do so. With this as a basis, you can construct an ideal business, an ideal home, ideal friends, and an ideal environment. You're not restricted as to the material or the cost. Thought is, remember, omnipotent and has the power to draw on the infinite bank of primary substance for all that is required. Infinite resources are therefore at your command. So we talked about this a little bit in chapter 11, where we said that the great teacher indicated whatsoever things ye desire when you pray, believe that ye receive them. So whatsoever things is really where we set our focus to understand that if there's going to be a limitation, we're setting it on ourselves. There's really no limitation when you understand it's not the small me that is about to accomplish this, but the larger I, that larger I that is connected to the universal mind, where, as Honnell said here, draws on the infinite bank of primary substance. The infinite bank of primary substance. That's where all things reside. So your resources are not a consideration. The only consideration are the whatsoever things. Now, this practical working method cannot come to you until you learn that the only power, real power, which you can have is the power to adjust yourself to divine and unchangeable principles. You cannot change the infinite, but you can come into an understanding of natural laws. The reward for this understanding is a conscious realization of your ability to adjust your thought faculties with the universal thought, which is omnipresent. So Nell is saying here, when you come into the understanding of, number 1, your power, and number 2, the understanding of how to utilize the power, you will then become invincible. You must have an understanding of natural laws. Now, the power of thought has many counterfeits, which are more or less fascinating, but the results are harmful instead of helpful. Of course, there's worry, fear, and all negative thoughts. They produce a crop after their own kind. Those who harbor these thoughts of this kind, must inevitably reap what they have sown. So again, this is a consistent message across the board. We've talked about it in previous lectures in terms of not being the foolish farmer. We've identified a desired result, we've planted the seed, and we've watered it in terms of impregnating our thoughts with our emotion. Our only job after that is to live in that desired results, in understanding that it is done. The foolish farmer, however, will go out to the ground and dig up that particular seed just to make sure it is in the ground and germinating. And as you know, as we've said, this disturbs the germination process and you have the potential of actually killing that particular dream. So the work is quite simple. The work is our whatsoever things. What is it that we desire? Can we see it, as Neville Goddard said, having been fulfilled, the wish fulfilled? Can we live in the end? Can we live in the end result? And once we are there, our work is to envision this on a daily basis, use our imaginations, and see it with greater and greater detail every day until it comes into fruition. That's the faith that we demonstrate. The law is that thought will correlate with this object and bring forth in the material world the correspondence of the thing thought or produced in the mental world. Again, from the spiritual to the physical. The principle which gives thought the dynamic power to correlate with this object and therefore to master every adverse human experience is the law of attraction. And we've talked about law of attraction in prior lectures. Another name, Honnell is giving it here, is love. Thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. Thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. You've heard me say a few times before that one of the ways to really expedite and to really cement this particular process into place, once you, number 1, determine your desired result, number 2, envision, imagine, created an ideal in terms of it being completed. Number 2, it's completed. You're living in the end. Number 3 is to impregnate it with that emotion. how would you feel when this thing is already done? So Hanel is saying here, once you figure out that love is the strongest emotion there is and you impregnate your thought, you become invincible. Educated desire is the most potent means of bringing into action the law of attraction. Educated desire. Educated desire. The intention governs the attention. The intention governs the attention. What do you intend? That's where your attention will go. Power comes through repose. It is by concentration that deep thoughts, wise speech, and all forces of high potentiality are accomplished. It is the silence that you get in touch with the omnipotent power of the subconscious mind from which all power is evolved. In other words, your silent time, your meditating time. He who desires wisdom, power, or permanent success of any kind will find it only within. Again, we've talked about this. Your solution is not without, it is within. It is an unfoldment. It's going to come from within you. Your solution, your obstacle or your opportunity that's presented itself also will come from within you, the solution. The unthinking may conclude that the silence is very simple and easily attained, but it should be remembered that only in absolute silence may one come into contact with divinity itself, may learn of the unchangeable law, and open for himself the channels by which persistent practice and concentration lead to perfection. So Hanel is saying here, many people do not adhere to simple practices because we've been taught and so well conditioned in our society that no pain, no gain, and the harder you work, the greater the reward, and these sorts of things. So something as simple as retreating to the silence is probably not adhered to by the larger masses and larger groups. But it is, as he says, in the silence where you come in contact with the divinity. Now, the Bible says, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still. So there are a number of references to the power of prayer and the power of meditation throughout many, many holy books. So meditation has been a proven and consistent form, result proven throughout the centuries. And we have but to learn and to adhere and to acknowledge the power therein. Now realize your unity with omnipotence. Get into touch with your power. Come into a deep and vital understanding, appreciation, and realization of the fact that your ability to think is your ability to act upon the universal mind and to bring it into manifestation. Realize that it will meet any and every requirement, that you have exactly the same potentiality as any individual ever did or ever will have, because each is but an expression or manifestation of the one. All are parts of the whole. There's no difference in kind or quality. The only difference is one of degree. So this week, this is your exercise. Come into the understanding and the acknowledgement of your internal power. Hanel is saying here, realize your unity with omnipotence. Your unity with that. It is not separate from you. You are part of the universal mind. You have access to all information. You have but to accept this fact. And once you accept this fact, you can begin to build upon it. You can begin to utilize it. You can begin to act upon it. He's saying here, get in touch with this power. Come into a deep and vital understanding and appreciation of this power, the power that we all have within. So this week, as you go into your quiet space, the exercise is to understand that you are connecting with divinity. You're connecting with the omnipotent, the omnipresent, the omniscient. You are connecting into the universal mind. So why is this important? It's important to understand because you are, in essence, programming, or better said, reprogramming your subconscious mind. Many of you, this is the first time you've heard this information. Therefore, I dare say that you're going to initially believe it. Certainly your subconscious mind has to hear a number of times before it's going to take. There's been so many other things programmed into your subconscious mind, limiting beliefs, traditions, legalism, different religious beliefs that are contrary to what now we're saying. So you have to come into this realization in order for it to really be utilized. So you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. And that's important because your subconscious mind is what's utilized to tap into the universal mind. And that is what will bring into manifestation your desired result. That is what will bring into manifestation your desired result. So you need to spend time understanding, therefore believing that you are connected to all there is. Not from the little me standpoint, because little me is going to argue this. But the big I, the universal I, understanding that you are a unique and individual expression of the universe, and you are the universe. The universe is inside of you. Inside. So, in summary this week, understanding and acknowledging our power from within, there are some things that I want to just really drive home with you. What 3 steps are absolutely essential in this process? Number 1, the knowledge of our power. In order to utilize our power, we must be aware of it. Just the example I gave you about the car and the air conditioning. If you're not aware that your car has an air conditioner, you're not even going to try to turn it on. You must be aware that you have this power. And number 2, you must have the courage to dare. What is it that you've always wanted? That career, that entrepreneurship, that relationship, the courage to dare, utilizing this power. Lastly, the faith to do so. The faith because I understand that I am part of the universal. And I understand that the universe is for me. Life is for me. Source is for me. God is for me. Love is for me. Nothing's working against me. All things work together. Everything is for me. This is my faith. I believe that everything works out for me. It always does. The knowledge of my power, the courage to dare, and the faith to do so. I hope this has been of great benefit to you. I do appreciate you guys joining me each and every week. We're going to continue to put these out. We've got, at this point, another 10 lectures to do out of Charles Snell's Master Key System. Check out below and see if we've got any free giveaways for you. If you've not done so, please subscribe, and we will talk to you later. Thanks.